Things are not looking great for Ubisoft, as their biggest games are getting delayed, some other projects that maybe should have never existed in the first place are getting cancelled, and the near future lineup is just not looking good overall. Now, Ubisoft did say that they have a major new deal that will offset some of the losses caused by the delays, and I need your help figuring out what it is. I carefully listened to the Ubisoft investor call, it just ended, and I will now share all the big news from that call. So if you are curious about the future of Ubisoft, then leaving a like would really be appreciated. Subscribe for more videos like this. And let's go. Let's start with the big one. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is delayed. It was supposed to launch at the end of 2022, with the leaked release date actually being November 18th. This was shared by Tom Henderson, who has been right countless of times, and he now took it to Twitter that Ubisoft was actually telling retailers just a few weeks ago that the game was still slated for a November release. But it now moved to fiscal year 2023, and this starts in April 2023, but I really think that this means that it's gonna be November 2023 at the earliest. Like, something has to be wrong, otherwise you're not missing a release around the second movie, which would have been a huge sales boost. It really reminds me of Halo Infinite in a way. That was of course planned to be a launch title for the Xbox Series, but they skipped that and then released 1 year later instead. Now, Ubisoft said that working from home was mostly the cause of this, as the game was of course developed during COVID for a long time, but still it was announced in March 2017, more than 5 years ago, and they still could not hit the movie date, while the movie was already delayed countless of times. Jeff Grubb chimes in saying that what he heard is that the game looks pretty, but that the gameplay is in rough shape, and this was about a month ago. And Kotaku understands that at least one producer was recently pulled off another major project to pitch in, so to basically help out with this Avatar game. Well, at least good that they are giving the developers more time, because it seems like they need it. And Ubisoft also notes that they want this game to be supported for many years, so then launching it in a good state is of course also important. The third Avatar movie is slated for December 2024. Like, I can even see them push this game even further to the end of 2024, because it's kind of weird to launch it when there's no movie alongside it, right? We will see, but yeah, another big game delayed out of 2022. I was really waiting for an Avatar and Hogwarts Legacy release date, and now with Avatar delayed and not a lot of movement around Hogwarts Legacy, I really hope that this Harry Potter game is still launching this year. We will have to wait and see. Otherwise, the year is starting to look way more dire in terms of AAA releases next to God of War. But there's way more, because not only Avatar, but also a smaller unannounced title that was first planned for the coming months has now been delayed to fiscal year 2023. Which is between April 2023 and March 2024. So this could be Assassin's Creed Rift, the rumored game with Basim, or it could be something else as well. The Crew 3 was rumored, and I also still think they're doing a spin-off Far Cry game, which would of course also be smaller, as they've done that for every mainline Far Cry title. Now, Jason Schreier on Twitter already notes that he will be asking around, so we will likely hear what this title is very soon, and when we learn more, I will of course report it here on the channel. There's even more bad news, or maybe good news depending on how you look at it, because they also straight up cancelled the development of Ghost Recon Frontline, the Battle Royale Ghost Recon title that got really poor feedback. I checked the reveal trailer just now, and it sits at 6.1k likes and 24k dislikes. Playtest feedback was also really bad. People were saying it's just a bad Warzone ripoff, so I'm glad they stopped development to probably focus more on the real mainline Ghost Recon game that already got leaked. But yeah, you could argue that they maybe should have never made this free-to-play game in the first place. 2 years ago, Ubisoft announced a Splinter Cell VR game and also an Assassin's Creed VR game, and while the Assassin's Creed title seems to be pretty far in development, the Splinter Cell VR game now got cancelled. And this next to two other unannounced titles. We don't know what those titles are, but Kotaku was able to see an internal email sent to Ubisoft staff where they note that we've also decided to stop development of certain games so that these talents can focus on other projects that have higher priority. With a ton of things leaking out of Ubisoft, I'm sure that at one point we will know what these two unannounced titles that are now cancelled are. Maybe the 2.5D Prince of Persia that was rumored, or the Immortal sequel. I hope I'm wrong, like I'm just speculating here. The Immortal sequel was also not confirmed, just heavily rumored. But yeah, I can see Ubisoft look at that project and think, okay, but everyone at Ubisoft Quebec that is working on this could maybe better spend their time working on more Assassin's Creed content that will likely make us more money. Because that franchise did better than expected in the previous quarter. Ubisoft says that it's mostly thanks to the hype of the 15th year anniversary. And Rainbow Six Siege is, by the way, also doing a bit better than they expected. But apart from that, and with no new massive Assassin's Creed game planned for this year or the following year, they really got no sure hits coming in the foreseeable future. Mario plus Rabbids will likely do fine, but not amazing, and they did not even want to talk about the pre-order numbers for Skull and Bones, while they usually do that if things are of course going well. It once again really looks like another Rainbow Six Extraction that will be forgotten really quickly, with Kotaku also noting that people who have worked on it remain skeptical it will be anywhere near the hit the company needs. According to one developer, there's little to the pirate game beyond what was already shown when it re-emerged in a showcase livestream earlier this month. I mean, we already kinda guessed that, but this doesn't sound great. Ubisoft did confirm that there will be ways for us to try the game before launch, likely through events and hopefully an open beta. And they also said they weren't afraid of God of War, even though that game launches one day after Skull and Bones. Like, I still think that moving it by even 1 week would be smart, but I don't think they will do it. Ubisoft also still has free-to-play titles releasing in this financial year, but they're not expecting a ton of impact from those in terms of profit. So these titles would be XDeviant and Division Heartland, next to probably some mobile games they're still working on. Roller Champions, that launched earlier this year, is tracking ahead of Hyperscape and has an extended post-launch to come. That is all they said. But yeah, comparing the success of this new game to a title that they shut down 1 year after launch is not really a good sign, but they at least say that they will continue to support it for now. And then the surprise of this investor call, because you would think that with the delay of Avatar and also the unannounced small premium game that they would lose a lot of profit. Well, they expect to offset that mostly thanks to a high value licensing partnership on mobile for one of our AAA brands. So I was like, okay, but what does this mean? Well, Derek on Tweaktown notes that Ubisoft has received an upfront payment that will be recognized this financial year and will help boost the top line growth by 10% year over year. But that this game won't launch in 2022 and still remain unannounced. Like, it seems to be a while before this game actually comes out, but they already get some money up front to offset the money they would otherwise have made from Avatar and the other smaller premium game. So we don't know what type of game this is. Derek notes that Diablo Immortal is a perfect example of what this could be, because that's made in collaboration with NetEase. So maybe Ubisoft is working together with NetEase, but then to make an Assassin's Creed mobile game. Like, that's the only franchise I can really think of, because they already have mobile games based on their other franchises, or it could be Far Cry, but I think Assassin's Creed is more likely. So Ubisoft says that it's a multi-year partnership, that it will give them a foothold in the mobile AAA business in the medium term. There is a revenue share scheme, and that it's also a non-exclusivity deal, so that they can still make their own mobile game based on this IP if they wanted to. Like, if it's an Assassin's Creed title, I can see them announce it during the September event, and there's way more Assassin's Creed news, or actually leaks and rumors. I will discuss that in a video very soon, so subscribe to not miss that. A like on the video would really help me out, and totally check out my previous video with predictions and rumors regarding the Ubisoft Forward stream that is planned for September 10th. Like, even with the news that we know about now, there are still a ton of interesting things in that video. You can watch it by clicking on the screen. I will for now speak to you soon. Goodbye.